Next up is a belt sander. When we're using this, we want to be really careful, and it might be a good idea to test part of your project that's not really obvious, if that's possible, before we get using this piece of equipment extensively. So now we have the belt sander. Why do we call it a belt sander? Well, the piece of sandpaper that fits onto it, that attaches to this machine, is shaped rather like a belt or a loop. And so this comes in a variety of grits. How does it work? Well, my model is pretty simple. You just slip the belt over the wheels and clip down, and that expands the tensioning unit, holds the belt in place. So when do we use the belt sander? Well, we use it on large flat surfaces. Might have a really large slab door, we might have a tabletop to do, we may have a small deck. We need to be careful when we use this piece of equipment, and we need to learn how it behaves before we get working in a really obvious part of the project, because it can get away on us. It's a very aggressive motor, and if we have the wrong grit belt in there, we could get ourselves into problems. So we need to have a selection of grits, and we need to get used to this before we use it in an area that's going to be highly visible. And last but not least, we have our large disc sander, or some might even call it a grinder. I wouldn't go quite that far, but it is very aggressive, and I do actually have quite an aggressive grit on the wheel here, you'll notice, and even that's been worn down quite a bit. And with the exterior paint season coming upon us, this might be our best friend, because there's several techniques to take off peeling, cracked, chipped paint off an exterior project, but this is by far the best way. Scraping, using a heat gun, using a torch, all those things have their place, but nothing beats the large sanding wheel. Now, when would we use this unit? Well, again, outside projects, siding, cleaning up large areas, painted wood surface, possibly even cement or brickwork. And I recall last year we had a project with extensive handrails on the property, and they all had to be sanded down, and we did it with this unit in really short order. So even though these last two sanding units don't look that pretty, they serve their purpose, and they can make us some money, or they can save us time, whatever the case might be. Have you ever picked up a piece of electrically powered equipment and you found that your cord has been pulled away from the body of the tool, and you may have an exposed wire, or you may have the potential for water to get into those wires, or at the very least it makes you a little uncomfortable using that piece of equipment in the condition it's in? Well, I'd like to show you how to put away the cords on your electrical equipment. Since we're talking about sanders, it's going to be on our sanders today. So first off, I'll give you a demonstration of how not to tie up your cords. You're done working with your orbital sander for the day. You take your cord and you go like this. Have you ever seen that before? Well, what do you think is going to happen here? The cord itself, probably not a lot's going to happen. But see the tension that it's putting on here? See the pressure that it's putting on that? Eventually that's going to pull that cord, it's going to either disconnect, it's going to loosen up, cause an electrical hazard, either by touch or maybe by fire. And if water gets in there, we could get electrocuted. So I hear you ask, well, Muskoka painter, how do you wrap up your cords if that's how everybody else does it? Well, you can see the result here on this piece of equipment. This part is supposed to come straight back in line with the handle, but it's been starting to be pulled away. Hasn't quite been pulled away from the handle here yet, but some damage could have occurred on the inside of this. So how I would prefer to do it is take the lead, roll it up on itself like that, and take the cord, wrap it around, overlap it like that, and then feed the plug through there. So there's no stress on the plug at that point. There's no stress point here. No damage is going to happen to that wire. And it's neat, you can put it away, it's not going to get all tangled up in your other tools. I hope you get some benefit from this review of the power sanders that I use anyway, and that you'll be able to take something away and use it on your own projects. Feel free to leave your comments. If you have any questions, go ahead and by all means subscribe. So until next time, it's been Craig, the Muskoka Painter, helping you take the pain out of painting.